Oh, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good. We're doing a documentary on the subject of racial imagery in religion and the psychological effects that racial images might have upon the minds of children. Um, do you understand what we mean when we say racial imagery in religion? Could you give me an explanation of how you see that?
Well, I mean, I think it could mean a lot of things. Are we talking about, for instance, the racial diversity or lack thereof in, certain religious depictions, perhaps of God or other religious figures? It could go to, the racial makeup of various religious groups, the practitioners, partitioners, parishioners. I mean, really, both religion and race are kind of, they sort of permeate a lot of different levels of society, and so I think there's a lot of, potential for interaction and intersection between them.
Okay.
But,
Great. Yeah. Well, you're basically right, but that's you got the concept in mind. So what we're saying basically is, what type of psychological effect do you think a child might have if they see God, promoted or depicted, as a ethnically identifiable human being? What do you think might happen?
well, I mean, I think it does have the potential to sort of, if you're religious, you wanna naturally sort of model yourself, and God is sort of the ultimate role model, and so I can definitely see how, if God is depicted as with a racial identity that doesn't match with yours or that does match with yours, how that could inform children's views and sort of either distance them from God, or make them feel more like God, or they're closer to God, or like they're separate from God, and feel other.
I see. So, do you think that when these kind of images are promoted, do you think that they might cause some types of friction between society? I mean, on a subconscious level, you think it might bring about certain amounts of resentment or feelings of grandeur in different aspects of society?
I think it's certainly possible. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes on a unconscious level or on an institutional level, where people do things, or they make these depictions, or they talk about things in certain terms, where they don't really ever consciously think about that they're putting a racial identity on things, or that they're framing things in a way that puts one culture ahead of another, and maybe they don't realize that they're doing that, but it certainly does have an effect of promoting one way of being, or one way of doing things, one way of looking, over whatever those whatever the other ways of looking or being or doing are, and certainly that's gonna cause tension, and it's gonna cause friction.
Do you think that society would probably have more of an equal way of seeing each other, or the members of society would have an equal way of seeing each other, if we didn't have any types of imagery promoted as being divine? In other words, when we speak of God, we thought of God as omnipresent, invisible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll kind of level with you and just sort of out myself that I'm an atheist, or sort of a naturalist. And so I don't believe in a personal God, in a God that takes any kind of form that we can sort of put a picture to and say this dude right here, or this lady, that's God. To me, God is nature. It's every single atom. It's the whole universe.
Yeah.
And so yeah, to me it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to draw a little picture with two eyes and a nose and a mouth, and he's smiling down at you with a big beard, and say that's God. You know, because to me it's every blade of grass and you and me, and so yeah. I mean, just on a sort of spiritual level, you know, I'm certainly already right there saying I don't think that that's really the most sensible depiction of, you know, something that's you know, all permeating and all knowing, and you know, it doesn't really make sense to reduce it down to that one, you know, arbitrary point of you know, sort of imagined person. But you know, I think there are lots of other reasons why you could get to that same point and say, I mean, you know, one thing, you know, I like to think about is the you know, the phrase, you know, God created man in his own image, and you know, without getting you know, too incendiary into the, you know, validity of all religion, you know, I do think that it's true that in the same way man creates God in his image, and that we have this you know, tendency to, you know, project ourselves out onto, you know, whatever we're, you know, our hopes and dreams and you know, our thoughts about the world. And so it's you know, it's easy for us to then say, well, I need to put God on this mural. What am I going to make him look like? You know, you end up making him look, you know, basically like you. You know, maybe you make him a little older, you know, longer beard, but yet, you know, at the end of the day, you know, he's still, you know, an image that you're creating from your own mind and experiences. And you know, that's always going to come with the baggage of, you know, whatever your life is, and so it's not going to be representative of everybody else's life and experience. And you know, that you know, in a lot of ways, it then you know, puts your image and your experience above other people's, because you're not just saying this is my experience, you're essentially saying this is, you know, this is God's experience, this is, you know, how God is, and you know, certainly that, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, that's a very good answer, and thank you so much. And listen, I just wanted to share something with you. You know, when I personally, when I think of that passage in the Bible where it says that God created man in his own image, I don't think of it. I look at the word image. I think that word probably has a deeper meaning.
Oh yeah, certainly.
You know, and I'm thinking more so on the blueprint, or the God created man with his blueprint in mind. You know, with his design. In other words, God is the one who had this is his design, God's design, and that's how I took that particular. Well, yeah,
let's hope his image is really, you know, compassion and love. And,
yes, right.
You know,
that's right.
All those good things,
right,
that cut across
all the other stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this interview.
Yeah, no problem. This was nice.